Welcome again, students. Welcome to part 3 on chapter 10 that deals with personality, and now in this video specifically the term self and self-concept, where we all know and we are very aware of the fact that we all have different personalities and that we all react differently to our surroundings. This awareness that we have that we are different and that we are different in different surroundings is what is referred to as the individual's sense of self. Every single individual, and therefore every customer, has an image of themselves, and that is what we refer to as the self-concept. The image in the bottom left corner is self-explanatory. The cat looking into a mirror doesn't see a cat as a reflection. He sees himself as the king of the jungle. Compared to other attributes or attitudes, the self-concept is a highly complex structure, and it is composed of different attributes, and some attributes are given a greater emphasis in the process of determining your overall self attitude. These attributes of the self-concept is usually described in one of the following terms. Firstly, the content. In other words, you've got somebody with an attractive appearance, attractive individual, versus somebody who's referred to as a nerd, who have more sort of mental aptitudes. A positive or a negative attitude to your which reflects your self-esteem. Intensity, the stability over time of such a particular attribute, as well as the accuracy. The latter 5 attributes descriptions is not that important for any examination purposes, but it's very nice to know, however, and I would much rather focus on understanding what the term self-concept means, and the fact that the self-concept is actually made up of different attributes, of which 1 or 2 is given a more or sort of a greater status in determining our self-attitude. The self-concept has a few characteristics. It is developed over time through experience. It is not innate. In other words, we can learn it. It has the purpose of protecting and enhancing your ego. That happens quite often. It is unique, and it includes a self-related knowledge and belief that we store in our memories, and that links in with number 1, which is how it develops over time through different experiences. Do we therefore have one self, or do we have multiple selves? Every single consumer is likely to act differently in different situations or with different people. You might find somebody that is extremely shy in real life or his real life, but then almost have a change in personality, where all their positive qualities is exaggerated on their Facebook and Twitter pages. What it means for marketers is that they have to now target the products and services that they are offering to consumers in a context of a particular self. If we furthermore look at the makeup of the self-concept, we know that despite the varying roles that we play as individuals, we have an image of ourselves as a certain kind of person. That's how we see ourselves, with certain traits, certain habits, certain ways of behaving. Now, each individual's self-concept is as unique as its personality. Um, and as with personality, it is very often a result of our background and our experiences over time. Customers have a number of very endearing images of themselves. And it's these images or these perceptions of themselves that are very closely related to their personality, which is reflected here in table 10.2 in the different types of self-concepts that's identified. Let's run through them individually. The actual self, this is how a person actually perceives themselves. We've got the ideal self, which is how a person would like to be perceived by others. We've got a social self, how a person thinks others perceive them. The ideal self, how a person would like others to perceive them. The expected self, the image of yourself between the actual and the ideal self. You've got a situational self, which is the person's self-image in a specific situation. And then you also have the extended self, which is the person's self-concept, including impact of personal possessions on your self-image. And then the possible self is what a person would like to become or could become, or, depending on the traits, is afraid of becoming. Now, consumers are constantly trying to change themselves or alter themselves, and by using a variety of products such as clothing, and then changing to a different brand, and also maybe the cosmetics and the jewelry that they use or wear. This is all used to modify their appearance so they can alter or change their self-concept. Customers are, through this efforts, trying to express their uniqueness or their individualism, and they do that by creating a new self, or by maintaining the existing self, or by extending the existing self, otherwise modifying it and changing it. For those who haven't seen that movie called Face Off, I couldn't think of a better image than that when the subject of changing and altering yourself came to mind. What people own, their cars, their houses, all these objects that call their own, can be seen to confirm or to extend the self-concept. A great deal of human emotion can also be connected to certain very valued possessions. Our possessions can be considered as extensions of ourselves, therefore, in a number of ways. Symbolically, for example, Employee of the Month, by conferring your status of your rank through buying or possessing a limited edition watch, for instance, by conferring feelings of immortality. We do that through our wedding bands and rings, or by conferring magical powers, like, for instance, wearing a certain necklace that we believe gives us certain powers based on a particular sales pitch, for instance. I think we've reached the end of this chapter. There are a few questions that you can just do for revision, just to help yourself remember everything that we've done, realizing the fact again that personality is a very, very difficult subject. But thank you very much. This is the end of today.